Viera 94.7 FM and W264 AS, Melbourne and Palm Bay 100.7 FM.
That's a musical theme, Extraordinary, composed and performed by Nyasha Roden. Good morning, buenos dias, bonjour, ki ora, abarigani, heart of love. Welcome to the Steel Pan Vibes. It's more than music radio show. We are thankful, we are blessed to be here for another day, another show. Asa, my co-host, is here. Hi, Asa.
What's up, heart of love, you know what I'm saying? I enjoyed a Jack and Coke at the Palm Bay Fair.
A Jack and a Coke at the Palm Bay Fair. All right, let's move it along. Dwayne is here. Good morning, Dwayne.
Good morning.
All right, and the Brown Boys. Nathaniel.
Good morning.
Very good. And Malik.
Morning.
And of course, Mr. Paul at the controls. Good morning.
Yo, what up?
Oh, what up?
No, good
All
morning. Good morning.
All right, and joining us online, Marcy, Tellison. I believe Garvin is there. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have something special in store. So we greet all our listeners, especially those of you joining us for the first time. 60 minutes of the finest Steel Pan recordings and talk that inspires, informs, empowers is ahead. Our musical theme plays tribute to Calypsonian soca artist Winston Bailey, also known as Mighty Shadow. Shadow, an extraordinary and internationally regarded lyricist, composer, and human being. He passed away in Tobago on Tuesday, October 23rd. While we have lost a great musician, we celebrate his musical legacy. Asa.
One Day at a Time is our opening selection with Jama Stewart from the album The Voices of Pan on the Hearts Aglow label. Steel Pan Vibes radio show is brought to you by Thrifty Specialty Produce and Meats of Palm Bay. Thrifty Specialty Produce and Meats of Palm Bay offers a wide selection of fresh fruit, vegetables, fish, and meat for the international palate. Frozen foods, fresh dairy, and hot food at the deli are also available, as well as wholesale and catering services. Now available at Thrifty money transfer services to Haiti, Jamaica, and the Caribbean. Thrifty Specialty Produce of Palm Bay is located at 2135 Palm Bay Road. Call 321-726-8007. Again, that's 321-726-8007 at Thrifty Specialty Produce and Meats. Freshness is guaranteed.
Oh, we got to thank Tellison and Wayne and Nyasha, Adrian, for joining us this morning. And by the way, Nyasha, a very talented young lady who teaches in Brooklyn music, steel pan. She is also talented on the board. So she sent me all the music that we're going to play today. She knows her mom don't have those skills yet to convert those files to MP3. So I want to thank her. Folks, she did a very good job. Now, who we going to hear from? I think we're going to be hearing, I hope we hear from Edgar today to tell us what's on sale at Thrifty.
All right. You are listening to the Steel Pan Vibes. It's More Than Music radio show on 1510 AM, WWBC 94.7, 99.9, 100.7 FM in Brevard County, plus streaming live online at facebook.com/Steel Pan Vibes and 1510wwbc.com. Available on app WWBC for Androids and iPhones. Thanks for joining us for our More Voices with Steel musical mix.
All right. Well, we are celebrating and paying tribute to the mighty Shadow. Some of Shadow's compositions are better known than others. Here's one I just learned about. It's performed by Cyprian Deltone's Steel Orchestra, arranged by Carlton Alexander, called Let's Dance, or Naked Rhythm.
Steel Pan Vibes is more than music radio show. Has been on the air for 8 years because our sponsors make it possible. Please, it's absolutely necessary for you to give our sponsors your support so we can continue to bring the Steel Pan Vibes, It's More Than Music radio show to you. Please remember to go to the Steel Pan Vibes, It's More Than Music Facebook page anytime. Select videos to see what you've missed. Of course, you can like, comment, and share our page. Steel Pan Vibes is brought to you by Brown's Bakery and Restaurant. For mouth-watering baked goods, soups, beverages, and meals, from patties to rock cake, chicken to goat head soup, juices to coconut water, and West Indian-style meals from jerk chicken to oxtails and delicious roti too, all at Brown's Bakery and Restaurant, located at 1155 Malabar Road inside the Interchange Plaza. Call 321-727-1060. 321-727-1060. Catering, also available. Brown's Bakery and Restaurant. Taste you can't resist.
Okay. Well, good morning to Manolin Silva. He's in Vieques, the island of Puerto Rico. He's a panelist as well. So we're saying good morning and thank you for joining us. So what did that set begin with? Wap Kokie. You know, Wap Kokie. Kokie brooms are what you get licks with. Well, they sweep the yards. That's the purpose. But you could get licks with that when you misbehave and you pass by your mom or your grandmother while she's sweeping the yard. You could get a Wap Kokie. Anybody could get a Wap Kokie. So that was Desperado Steel Orchestra doing Shadow's Wap Kokie, arranged by the master Clive Bradley, followed by another Bradley arrangement for Pantonic Steel Orchestra, and that tune was Stranger from the album Tonic for the Soul. More in our tribute to the mighty Shadow coming up. Stay tuned.
If you're just joining us, this is the Steel Pan Vibes. It's more than music radio show. Today we pay tribute to an extraordinary talent, the mighty Shadow, unique, poignant, political, and extremely funny. Thank you for joining us. More music from Shadow after this word from one of our sponsors.
I've been listening to the voice of our community to fully understand the needs and concerns of our citizens. I've heard terrible road conditions, underfunded public services, poorly performed schools, and a litany of others. They all have one thing in common: fiscal irresponsibility. This is the current environment of our city, and it's time for a change. I believe in honesty, integrity, and transparency, and that is the environment you deserve. My name is Kenny Johnson, and I'm running for Palm Bay City Council Seat 4.
So, folks, reacting to the death of Winston Bailey, also known as Mighty Shadow, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, said he, and I quote, revolutionized the calypso world with his haunting sound and unique delivery, which he crafted and perfected in an impressive catalog of work spanning several decades. He was an original in all his various musical creations. His music told us stories about ourselves through poignant social commentary, which was often fused with wry humor, and that's true. Over the years, his contribution to the development of our local music earned him regional and international acclaim, end quote. And I just saw a post where Billboard magazine is recognizing him for his work in music. That's great. That's really, really impressive. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. When you're recognized by a Billboard, then they're the biggest ones that they are.
So you're in.
Yes.
I see. But he was out for a lot of time, and we're going to talk about that too. Dwayne, you want to tell us, before we get to your guest in the spotlight, Shun McGhee, he's a rap artist and founder of the band Black History. Tell us what you think is the most compelling part or aspect of Shadow's legacy, something you admire about him.
Well, one thing that I admire about him, and it's relevant to a topic that we've talked about a couple times when I was on the show before, about restoring the African mind. And one of the important aspects about Shadow's music, he was very fearless and unapologetic about that African identity. In his music, he touched on a lot of things that we as Caribbean people don't really like to discuss very much in terms of our African heritage. He spoke about the importance of our African identity, even certain cultural aspects of that. For example, Obia. Obia is something a lot of Caribbean people fear. Shadow sang very openly about that in his music, including the tune that we were just listening to, Wap Kokie. The topic about that was actually about a man who had lost his lover, and he was going to the Obia man to get his lover back. So Shadow, he did it in a very humorous and satirical way, but he was talking about some serious topics in terms of, as African people, as Caribbean people, we have a cultural heritage that we shouldn't run away from, that we shouldn't be afraid of, that we should celebrate. And I think one of the important things about Shadow is in his music, he sang about it and he honored that heritage.
Very true, very true. I agree with that totally. Paul, more on our tribute to the Shadow from Curep Shazando Steel Orchestra, performing a Johann Popple arrangement of the 1974 Road March. He did win a Road March, Bassman. Okay, we just want to welcome Clayton Bell. He's listening from Houston, Texas. Wow. We love it when our listeners come from all over, you know. Clayton, by the way, I'm inviting him to come on the show to talk about flag waving for Despas. These are all parts of the steel band tradition, and people hardly know about it. They may just see somebody in front of the band waving the flag. They don't know that's coming from way, way back. So hopefully he's going to join us sometime soon to talk about flag waving. In the meantime, we do have some information for those living in Brevard County. Thrifty Specialty Produce and Meats. They have a sale going on from yesterday or Wednesday until the 31st, next Wednesday of October. And this is what's on sale. You know when you're getting all those nice dishes together? Alberta corn oil, 17.5 pounds, $10.98. You get 2 cans of Goya canned beans, assorted varieties, 2 for $4. You get frozen kingfish steaks. Ooh, for those of you into the fish, $4.98 a pound. Tomatoes, plum tomatoes, 88 cents a pound. Yellow bananas, 48 cents a pound. Sweet potatoes, I love baked sweet potatoes, 48 cents a pound. I mean, you just go there and get your stuff. Whole chicken wings, family pack on sale. Chicken wings are very expensive. $1.78 a pound. That's cheap. So you better go out there and get those chicken wings. All right, that's at Thrifty Specialty Produce and Meats. They have deli for hot foods and all those good things. Where are they located? 2135 Palm Bay Road. 2135 Palm Bay Road. If you have any questions, 321-726-8007. 321-726-8007. And that's an international grocery, bakery, hot food, seafood, meat, and fresh produce. So get down to Thrifty. Who knows? They might be listening there. And if they are, good morning to all our good friends at Thrifty. From all of us at the Steel Pan Vibes, it's More Than Music radio show. What's coming up next? Maritone Steel Orchestra from the village of Digger Martin. That's where I was raised, in Trinidad and Tobago, doing a Kendall Lewis arrangement of Tempo. have a little bit of information to share about my personal experience with the Mighty Shadow. I remember meeting him once backstage at Madison Square Garden. It was one of those Mother's Day concerts, and he was scheduled to perform. He was last on the program, but apparently the show went over time and he didn't get to perform. So I looked at him and he looked really disappointed. But for some reason, it seemed like he was used to that experience, being left out, being left back. And maybe, just maybe, that fueled his creativity, helping to make him the extraordinary artist that he was. And also, we need to remember and recognize Art Decoto, his music director, who gave such excellent instrumentation to the music of the Mighty Shadow. Dwayne, I think your guest is ready in the spotlight, but we're going to play a little of his music. And the song we're going to play from Shun McGhee and Black History is called Wake Up.
I need to live a little. Dwelling on my pain became overkill. It came to me like a genius thought. If I kept picking at the scabs, how could I expect to heal? So I kept it real with myself. I'm all I was given, I would never get nobody else. So stop waiting at the door for a new improved model of me and fall in love with Shun McGhee. Peace finally. The last 20 years been like a civil war inside of me. People like I never knew. I'm one way in the public, but I can never lie to me. Constantly reminding myself of my failures, but never all that I could be. Wake up, splash some water on your face. Wake up, I know that's all that I can take. Face up, I know you wanted me to make a fool out of me, but I never gave you the satisfaction. I see it pray. It's become my new mission in life to live it. Instead of a right, I consider it a privilege. Every day a new poem. I wrote in 24 hours, I write one each dawn.
Good morning, Sean.
Hey, good morning. This is Dwayne.
Yes. How are you doing?
Morning. I'm good, man. How you?
Oh, good. Okay, so our first question of the interview is, the name of your band is Black History. How did you come up with that name, and what's the significance of that name?
Okay, kind of a funny story about how I came up with the name. So the name, I was, years ago, I was dating this girl, and we were going, I think, into the grocery store. And I was just kind of kidding around. I said something like, ladies and gentlemen, Black History. And I looked at her, she looked at me, and we were like, oh, Black History. So that's how I came up with the name. Nothing really deep, nothing like that. But then the significance of the name is I wanted to make music so important that it would one day be regarded as Black History. So, Black History.
Okay, and would you say Black History is actually a significant source of inspiration for your music?
I'd say so, right? Because my father reared me to be a real history buff, and so in learning so much and thirsting so much about the knowledge of self and Black history, I'd say that. It's a significant pillar, but it's not all the inspiration for all the music.
Okay, well, where else do you draw your inspiration from?
Well, like most artists, man, living, being a human being, and I tend to think that artists are a lot of those. We're a lot of those people that feel a lot, right? So I draw inspiration from everything that happens, everything that I see, be it on the news, on the television, the things I experience, love, pain, anger, sadness, all those things become facets of the music.
Okay, and you describe your band Black History as being a movement as well as a band. Can you elaborate on why you make this comparison of your band as being a movement?
Yeah, because I mean, of course, right? We are cast to get together, and we're cast together playing music, right? So it's a band, but it's a movement because of the resurgence that we're trying to bring back to quality music and quality lyrics that are really talking about things that are substantive, and not even just that, but a movement, hopefully back to dancing. Dancing to real live instrumentation, not just dancing to, and there's no knock to anybody who's doing anything other than live instrumentation. There's a lot of people out there, electronic music and stuff like that, but we play live, real instruments, and we play, more traditional instruments, and it's a movement back to that. So, it's a band and a movement.
Yeah, and I know apart from being a musician, you also said you're an activist as well, and you actually come from a family of activists. What type of causes have you been involved in, and is there any connection between your activism and your music?
Well, yeah. So, like you alluded to, I do come from a family of activism, right? My father and my aunt protested in the early 1960s, for the right to vote, for equality, and my father spent the summer of his going into his senior year in high school, in jail because the movement at that time was to fill up the jails, so that they would have to kind of set us free and to hear the demands. And then I watched my brother in the very early 80s go downtown to the South African embassy to protest apartheid. So those things had a big, big impression on me. And so then when I was coming up also in the 80s, I was also down with the movement to protest against apartheid. And as I got up some age, doing things like going to the Million Man March and marching downtown, going to march also downtown again with for the Gen 6, marching even recent as a year or so ago for Eric Garner and Trayvon Martin and just a host of folks that have been killed by the police here very recently. So yeah, I mean, I'm still very much an activist, and it affects my music because really, really quickly, I came up in a musical time that was filled with activism, right? So whether that be Public Enemy being the first concert I ever went to, or whether that be Arrested Development or self-destruction, all those things had a profound impression on me, and they come out in my music even to date.
Okay, Sean, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Sure. You are listening to the Steel Pan Vibes. It's more than music radio show. Shun McGhee, founder of Black History, a Washington, D.C. based band, is our guest in the spotlight. He's an activist. He's a musician. He does not only rap, but they play music. It's not just a band. It's a movement. The Steel Pan Vibes radio show is brought to you by L.C. Warren Group, financial planners and wealth management professionals. Whether you are saving for college, tuning your Social Security benefit, or planning to enter retirement, L.C. Warren Group offers client-focused investment services for retirement, estate planning, portfolio management. Our office is located at 6767 North Wickham Road in Melbourne and online at lcwarrengroup.com. We serve the global community. Call us at 321-254-8680. 321-254-8680. The more we know, the more we grow. securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, Sean, as you mentioned, you're not only a musician, but you're an activist who's been very involved in different causes impacting the community. And the next question is, why do you think it's important for artists to be connected to the issues that are impacting the community?
Okay, because in a lot of cases, artists have an influence or an opportunity to influence people that maybe the average person may not. So I look at people like Harry Belafonte, Lena Horne, Dick Gregory, those kinds of folks who took activism very seriously because of the platform. And I think that they handed the baton down to cats like I said, Public Enemy, Arrested Development, who then handed the baton down to me. So I think that it's a responsibility that if you see something right, you're supposed to say something. And we're seeing a lot here, be it from the administration or just the world that we live in. So I feel obligated to say something.
Okay, and as people of African descent, music is a very important part of our culture, not only for entertainment purposes, but also even political. When you look at African traditions, the griot was the voice of the people that spoke out and was very critical if, for example, a king or a chief was abusing their power. And that political aspect of our music survived during the Middle Passage. Music was something that we used to rebel on the slave plantations. So my next question is, do you think it's important for Africans in the diaspora to reconnect with our African culture in terms of, like I said, the political aspect of our music?
Absolutely. And I think that I mentioned earlier, I talked about the knowledge of self, right? And when you're walking around without knowing who you are, it becomes difficult to navigate where you're going. So that's why, the main reason why it's important, for Africans all over the diaspora to connect with Africa. And also because, listen, there's no people on the face of the earth that didn't come from somewhere, who don't have a culture, who don't have a specific way of doing things that explain why they do things that they do it now. And we're no different from that. But because that has been stripped from us, like you talked about through the Middle Passage and through our enslavement, a lot of people are walking around here, what's the word I'm trying to use, with having lost their memory, right? And it's making it difficult for them to know where they're going. So it's important for us to reconnect with Africa because that's our home, right? And that's our birthright as well.
Okay, and earlier we played a sample of one of your songs. So for listeners who are interested in your music, where can listeners go to find your music?
Well, what can they expect from the music?
No, I mean finding the music in terms of if they want to listen to more your music. Where can they go to find that?
Sure. So some elements that they can expect from the music, like I talked about, live instrumentation, right? They can also expect to be uplifted, right? To be encouraged to go further than maybe they thought they could. They can expect to dance. They can expect to be educated as well, right? Because I pride myself. I used to be a teacher with the school system, and I pride myself not only in being a musician but a teacher as well. So they can expect to be, educated as well, and to have a good time, hopefully.
Okay. Do you have an album out, or anything that listeners can go to purchase in terms of wanting to listen to your music?
Indeed, they can go to our website www.thebandtheblackhistory.com, and they can find our single Naturally. You can also find it on CD Baby. Interesting that you asked me about an album, because in an era when people are just making singles, we are actually engaged right now in finishing up our album, and they'll be able to get that when it comes out. But on YouTube as well, they can find our music. Some of the singles that we've also released. For their listening pleasure.
Okay, and is there anything else that you would like our listeners to know that wasn't mentioned before?
Yeah, I like them to know this. That Black History is an adult contemporary hip hop band. That doesn't mean that we don't respect younger artists and a younger audience, but we're trying to say that, hey, as rap music has evolved and grown up, so have we, and you can still be 40, 50 years old and find rap music that you enjoy, without feeling like you're rummaging through your children's music collection.
Okay, and our final question is, as you know, the steel pan was invented by a young man of African descent in Trinidad and Tobago. So before you leave, what can you tell our listeners about the steel pan?
So here's what I can say about the steel pan that I found very, very interesting, and I'm going to connect it to hip-hop. So, like a lot of things that was created in the Western Hemisphere by African people, it started from the bottom and it had to rise. So when the steel pan was first introduced, be it through the bamboo sticks and then the steel pan, it was from the lower society spectrum, right? And it had to go through a process where people within the Black community, that were more educated and had a longer reach, accepted it, and then it went outward, right? And it became something that was refined and all that kind of stuff. And I think that what I found that was cool was that hip hop has done the same. Be it it started, from the South Bronx, with Kool Herc and a lot of kids that were at the lower end of the social spectrum, and then as it left the Bronx and went to the Manhattan and other places, it became more accepted by Black people who were at higher ends of the social spectrum, and now it's accepted by everybody. So I just look at the lifespan of the steel drum, and I really can compare it to hip hop, and I like that a lot.
Okay. Hi, Shun McGhee. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. This is Miss B here at the Steel Pan Vibes Radio Show, and I have a question
Miss
for
B,
you.
How you doing?
I'm doing very good. I have a question for you. Since you're up north you're in Washington D.C., correct?
Right.
Okay. And you just outlined how the steel pan evolved from, a simple drum back then from the ghetto, so to speak, and, finally was accepted, more acceptable in the society. It also went through those changes, the instrument itself, and you compare that to hip-hop. Now, wouldn't it be a good idea for Black History to hook up with a steel band or a group of steel band musicians and put some great music together?
It would. And the funny thing is I know you probably wouldn't guess that, but it's still bands here in D.C. As a matter of fact, I met a really cool young lady some months back at a place called Mr. Henry's, which is a very, very known place here that people perform. And she has a steel drum, and she came there that night to play her steel drum. So believe it or not, it's steel drummers here in D.C.
I know that. So I want you to hook up with them and bring out some extraordinary music.
Indeed. Thank you for that suggestion, and I'll begin working on that ASAP.
No problem. That sounds good. Thank you so much for appearing in the Steel Pan Vibe Spotlight. We'll be in touch with you.
Thank you now. You all have a great day.
All right. Very good. Very good. Okay, folks, the last word. Well, that was Shun McGhee of the band Black History. He's an activist. He's in Washington, D.C., and he's going to hook up with a steel band or steel band musician to make some great music. Guess what? The last word comes from Nathaniel and Malik Brown. Nathaniel, are you going to go first or Malik? Come on, let's get it together.
I'll go first.
All right, so you have to tell us what you know about Mighty Shadow.
Mighty Shadow, a.k.a. Winston Matt Garland Bailey, was born on October 4th, 1941, and died October 23rd, 2018. He died of stroke. He died 4 days ago. Some of his albums are D Bass Man, Love Light, If I Coulda, I Woulda, I Shoulda, Shadow, Sweet Dreams, Return of D Boss Man, Raw Energy, Dingo-Lay, High Tension, The Monster Columbus Lied, Winston Bailey is the Shadow, etc.
Very good. And you, Nathaniel?
Winston McGarland Bailey was born in Belmont, which is a suburb in Port of Spain, Trinidad. He later grew up in Les Cotox in Tobago with his grandparents. He chose the name Shadow after coming across some workers digging up a road while he was working. One of the workmen was in a hole below the road surface, and others were calling him Shadow. And Bailey said, I felt like they were calling me. Ever since then, in his early years, he would perform wearing all black with his large hat covering his face. He died not too long ago at Mount Hope Hospital due to stroke.
Okay, thank you guys. Well, taking us home is one incredible musician, Mighty Shadow, with one of his signature compositions from his extraordinary legacy, commonly called Dingo-Lay, but Music is the correct title. So folks, until next time, let your brilliance shine. Stay strong, stay focused, be encouraged, have a safe, enjoyable weekend. May God bless you all.
Bye.
Music sweet, music sweet. The one who invented music has got to be terrific, got to be the one who created the sun and the trees, rivers and seas. Music fills the world with happiness, plenty, sweetness, and togetherness. Music have no friends or enemies. Everybody put dingo-lay, 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 dingo-lay. If your clothes tear up or your shoe bust up, you could still jump up when music plays. Old lady, young baby, everybody put dingo-lay, 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 dingo-lay. Melodies, harmonies, music in the atmosphere, sweet music is everywhere, even in the park, in the dark, a blind man can find a melody.
togetherness. Music have no friends or enemies. Everybody, but dingole, 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 dingole. If your clothes tear up or your shoe bust up, you could still jump up